Welcome everyone tonight to the Sports Talk with Jim Monico, Tony Bonifacio, myself, Jay Houselander. First, before we get into anything, Jack, congratulations. Would you ever thought you would be a world champion?
Thank you. No, it was pretty shocking experience, and it was an awesome one.
Totally understandable. And Jim, we'll let you start, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, Jack, congratulations to you. Awesome. It was. I know the Sioux was watching you, and it was great. You did a great job of representing us. First off, let's go back. A few years. Your bantam years. Where did you play your bantam hockey? Who was your coaches in the Sioux? And talk about that a bit.
Yeah. So my first year bantam, I was playing for the Sioux Junior Greyhounds. I had Keith Coletti as a coach. And then the next year, my bantam major year, I played minor midget up a year. My coach was Jamie Henderson, and I think that was really the first really big development year for me. And then obviously I moved into my minor midget year and was still playing for the Sioux Thunderbirds minor midget with Jamie Henderson as well. Those years were huge for my development, and I think really catapulted me into the OHL. So,
yeah. Now Jamie's a guy I have a relationship with. He speaks very highly of you. He's been a good influence on your career, and he's a good guy. You got anything good to say about Jamie?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's a huge part of hockey in Sault Ste. Marie now, and he deserves it. I mean, he just really wants to develop hockey players coming out of the Sioux, and I think that's awesome for hockey in the Sioux, and he's a great promoter and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's an awesome guy.
So now you go, Jack. It's time for your draft, your OHL draft year, and you end up being a first-round pick to the Ottawa 67s. How was the draft process, and do you remember going through that? And were you expecting to be a first-round pick, and were you thinking that Ottawa might be a place you could go? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. I had obviously I had interviews with a lot of the teams in the OHL, and I met face to face with Ottawa, which you don't usually do that often. And it was a great interview, and I met with the assistant GM Jan Egert, and he met with my family, and it just went really well, and I felt comfortable there. So I knew I was in that range from late first round to early second round pick, and when my name got called by Ottawa, so surreal, like just an awesome organization, and I was super happy to go there.
So then you play your rookie year in Ottawa, and you played a fair amount of time, and you got some good experience in. Talk to us about your rookie season.
Yeah, it was. I think it's a huge adjustment. Like as a 16-year-old in the OHL, just the pace of play, the strength and size of players. You're not the biggest kid out there anymore, so I think it was more a learning experience and a development year. But like you said, I was able to play some minutes and get in a lot of the games, so I was super happy with my 16-year-old year.
Now comes time for we don't get a season this year, and comes time for the U17s. Are you expecting a call, or are you does it right out of the blue when you first got the invitation? Were you expecting that?
So for the U18 talking about?
Yeah, U18. Sorry, I said 17. Yeah, U18s.
Yeah. Honestly, I was training down in Ottawa, training and skating, from mid-February to the end of March before I left for Texas. So I wasn't even home. And I was in conversations with my agent, and he was telling me about this team. Honestly, I didn't really know anything about it. With COVID, I didn't think any international events were going to happen. And then, yeah, he said I was in contention. They were looking at me. And then when I finally got the call, Alan Miller, who's basically the GM of our U18 team, he called me and said I made the team. It was unreal. I called my parents right away, and it was awesome.
Now, these other guys have played on this team before, right? Like they played on U17 and they've been on the Canadian team before. You never played international hockey before, right, Jack?
Yeah, no, I didn't make Team Canada, but I think every other kid on the team played Team Canada before. So yeah.
Now talk about that. Talk about that team. First off, there's a lot of excellent players on that team. A lot of skilled players. We talked a little bit before we came on about that, and getting there, meeting all the guys. Talk about that before we talk about the actual tournament.
Yeah, so I was training with Mason McTavish in Ottawa before we left, so I knew him. I knew a few other guys from the north, Chase Stillman and Ben Gaudreau. But other than that, I mean, I didn't really know anyone. So we got to the airport, and right away, you just become so close. I mean, you're like brothers. So and then when we got to Dallas, we met up with the Western League guys, and right away, our team grew closer, and I think that's really what helped us win the tournament. We were such a close, and there wasn't any really cliques. Everyone got along, so yeah, I was able to play with some really good players, like you were saying, Shai, Connor Bedard, Brant Clark, all these big names. So
yeah, there's some good players. Now you had a personal note for you. You had a really strong tournament. I thought I watched pretty much every game. You started the tournament. You got your role kind of grew as the tournament went on. You played some penalty kill. You played a defenseman role. You had a shift very late in the game in the third period in the gold medal game. How did you feel you played, and were you happy with your performance?
yeah, I was obviously I hadn't played a game for like 13 months, so yeah, I think a key for me was just playing simple out there and making quick decisions with the puck. And I think I did as well as I could in my role. Like you were saying, I was a defensive defenseman playing a shutdown role. And I think our penalty kill was first in the tournament. So, I mean, I think I played pretty well. And yeah.
Yeah, now, so the tournament, you guys had a little bit of a walk. A lot of the games, you guys, won by a lot of big scores. Then comes the gold medal game. When we knew that was coming, right? Everyone knew that was going to be a great game, and that was just a fantastic game to watch. So much skill on the ice. Tell me about that game and playing the Russians, and actually, really, for you, for the first time in a long time, playing in a competitive hockey game at such a high skill level. That must have been hard. That must have been an adjustment to step up to that all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, you get the butterflies in your stomach before the game. And like you were saying, just the skill level on both teams, you knew it was going to be a close game. Russia was a great team. They won the U17s. So I was confident going in the game that we were the better team and we were going to win. Just because we had so many game changers on our team. But yeah, when they scored that first goal, it was just like, oh no, here we go. Yeah, Bedard responded right away, and then it was our game from then on.
And the feeling that the clock is ticking down, your guys are up 4-3, you guys end up getting an empty netter. Like I said, you had a shift with about 3 minutes left, and then you're kind of waiting it out. That must have been nervous times and anxious, and you want to win so bad. And just watching that clock tick and finally the puck goes in the empty net must have been a great feeling.
Yeah, they brought it to 4-3. I think I'm not sure, like around 10 minutes left, they scored on their power play, and after that, you're holding on, right? 4-3 lead. You know they're gonna pull the goalie, and then to finally get that empty net for Shaner when he scored that, it was a huge relief. Everyone was jumping, and the celebration started from then on.
And Jim, sorry, I'm just going to. Oh, sorry, guys. Go ahead, Jim.
Then I watched after the game. We were watching. My whole family was watching, cheering for you. And I watched when you got that trophy and you got to do your little skate. And they actually cut away from you when you got it. You probably saw that since then. That must have been a fantastic feeling, right? Getting that trophy, getting that medal around your neck. Those are things that'll never be taken away from you. That must have been a great feeling.
Yeah, when we got the medal and we were all singing "Oh Canada" on the blue line, yeah, a memory that I'll always have, and I'll never forget that. So
yeah, and
it was
I'll ask
awesome.
you one more question, then I'll hand it over to Bono. Jack, when I hear your name, Jack Mateer, most people around the city would say he's a really good hockey player. When I hear your name, I think that you come from a great family. I mean, I know your parents. Your dad's awesome. Your mom's great. I know you got a lot of family support from the Flemings in around the city. And I follow your dad on Twitter. I see some of his family chiming in and supporting you. Just talk to me about the family support and how much it must mean to you, and coming from such a great family.
Yeah, the family support's awesome, and I think just the whole Sioux was behind me during this tournament. I was getting text messages and stuff like that. So the whole experience and the support was something that I'll never forget, and it was kind of something for people to watch during lockdown. I think that's why it grew so much, and so many people were watching it. So yeah, the whole city and my whole family was supporting me. It was awesome.
No, Jack, I'm sorry, Bono. But no, Jack, you got next up is the NHL draft. Is that right?
Yeah.
And what are your expectations for that? I know you don't really know, but are you hopeful to go, top 3 rounds, 4th round? What's your thoughts on that? And what do you know, and have you been talking to teams?
Yeah. So I think it's slated in for the end of July. So just preparing for that. We're really starting interviews with NHL teams now. So yeah, I'll be going through those, and hopefully my name will be called. I'm not really sure yet, but it's a dream of mine, so I hope so.
Awesome. I'll hand it over to Bono. Thanks, Jack. I'll get back to you. Go ahead, Bono.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. So, Jack, I was going to ask you about this before, but we really didn't get a chance. So if this isn't something you want to talk about, just say pass and we'll move on. But obviously for the OHL draft, when that happened, your name, you were up there when the Greyhounds were picking, and the Greyhounds decided, I believe, to go in a different direction. I'm sure a part of you wanted to, play for your hometown, but was it a blessing in disguise that you ended up in Ottawa?
Yeah, that was one of the teams obviously I wanted to go to. My dad played for the Greyhounds. I grew up watching the Greyhounds. I was always around the rink. But I would say it was a blessing in disguise. I think I really grew as a player in Ottawa, and that's with great coaches and Andre Tourney. I was really getting coached by the best coaches in the world. So I think it was a blessing that we had last year in Ottawa. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So
what's the strongest part of your game? If I were to ask you, what's Jack Mateer's strength, what would you say?
I think this tournament, obviously, a lot of people saw me playing a defensive role, and I think that's really probably one of my strongest attributes as a player is just my hockey IQ and being able to shut down other teams' top lines. So I think I contribute that a lot to my hockey IQ.
Is there a part of your game that you feel like you need to improve on?
I think for everyone, skating. I think the NHL has just played at such a high level, skating wise. I think everyone coming out of junior, that's probably the one thing that everyone works on. I think that a lot of that comes with just overall strength coming from the gym, translating over. So that's something that I'll work on over the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah. So Jim talked a little bit about your dad. Here, obviously, he played here. Kind of talk about his impact and kind of how he, his experience. He's already experienced this, right? He's already been through the OHL. He's done the draft. Can you kind of talk about how he kind of helped you throughout this, having had this experience before?
Yeah, he was always my coach growing up. Probably taught me 90% of what I know to this day. So he's been a huge impact, and if I ever need anything, he's always there to support me if I ever have any questions. So yeah, I talk to my dad a lot, obviously, when I'm away in Ottawa, and just like you said, he's been through this before, so he can tell me stuff that no one else really can. So I use him a lot as support.
That's great. I know you guys didn't have a season last year, but have you had a welcome to the OHL moment yet?
Ooh, I think just skating onto the rink the first game in Ottawa, that's probably like the one moment where I'm like, okay, I'm in the OHL now. Like, yeah, that would be welcome to the OHL moment. Probably skating onto TD place for the first time. It was special.
Oh, that would have been awesome. So, before I throw it over to Jay, I got a funny little story about your dad. So, Jay and I talked about this on one of our first podcasts that we ever did, and I've actually told your dad this. But the first time I ever got grounded in my life was because of Mark Mateer. I was sitting at the Memorial Gardens and got to go to a game, first time in a while, and I was just young. And we were sitting right above the penalty box, and your dad got a penalty. And this might come as a shock, but your dad used to be, he wasn't shy hiding his emotions sometimes. So he yelled a 4-letter word on his way to the penalty box. So later on that week, my mom asked me to do something, and I told her no, and then she kept telling me to do it. So I repeated that 4-letter word and threw my arms in the air. Well, needless to say, my mother wasn't too happy with me, sent me to my room. She comes to the room and she's like, Tony, why did you say that? And I was like, well, Mark Mateer said it, so why couldn't I? And that was my excuse, and it didn't work, and I ended up getting grounded because of your dad. So I'll blame him to this day for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Such a good, he was great for the Sioux, though. It's nice that you guys that he ended up staying here, and you've really been representing the Sioux well. So we really appreciate that. And you're right. People are rooting for you. That's the one nice thing about the Sioux, right? Is no matter where you ended up playing, as long as you're from here, you have a lot of support. So you talked a little bit about how the Sioux supported you with all the text messages and stuff like that. What's your favorite memory growing up playing hockey in Sault Ste. Marie?
Ooh, I would honestly, we were always like a close team growing up, and there was always that core group. So I would just say growing up playing like AAA in the Sioux, I still talk to a lot of the guys that I played with, and a lot of them are my friends still. So when I'm out of quarantine, I'll have to see them, and I would just say growing up playing and getting close with guys from the Sioux, I still keep in contact to this day. So it's awesome.
That's great. All right, Jay. Go ahead.
I got a question, Jack. Do you think that you'll have you settled into the role as the defensive defenseman now, or do you think that you'll try to become get a little bit more offense into your game? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, do you think that you're just going to be a defensive defenseman and that's going to be your niche, or do you think you'll try to become more of a offensive player going forward?
I still think that I can play a two-way defenseman role. I think next year in the OHL I'll take a big step, and I think confidence-wise I'll be a lot better with the puck and stuff like that. So I still think I can play an offensive role.
You always were an offensive player when you were young, so I mean you have the skills and you work on the skills. It's just a matter of just doing what you can do, and nothing wrong with just being a defensive defenseman. A lot of people make a lot of money doing that. So
Yeah,
I just was wondering if that was something you wanted to look into going forward, or you're happy with. Do they tell you, like, does on Team Canada, did they tell you just play it safe, move the puck, or did that just how you played?
yeah, I obviously, like, Brant Clark's an offensive defenseman. We had Owen Zellweger from the Western League. They were running our power plays from day one. So I knew to be like a more effective defenseman, I needed to be someone different than them, obviously. So I was playing that defensive role. But like I said, I think I could play an offensive role. I was always offensive growing up and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bono.
Sorry, Jack, just two more quick questions. The first one was, we talked to a lot of people who have gone the NCAA route. Can you just talk about your decision to play OHL rather than going the NCAA route? And was it even a discussion?
Yeah. So my draft year, obviously you have to make a decision. Are you going to play in the OHL or do you want to look at schools NCAA route? So my dad played in the OHL. I always watched it growing up, so I think I was always leaning towards the OHL. I think another big thing is I wanted to play right away. So my 16-year-old year, I wanted to play in the OHL opposed to playing Tier 2. So that's another thing that really propelled me to go to the OHL opposed to NCAA.
Yeah, that's important. We've talked to a lot of different people, and everyone has kind of taken a unique and a different path to get to where they want to be, right? So I think it's important for people to talk about, their decisions and kind of why they did that. So appreciate you asking that. One question that I have, and I've talked to Jay about this a little bit too. We covered, we did some play-by-play for some games. I think what team was or for Henderson's team, and no contact, no hitting, nothing like that. You were fortunate enough to get to play in a contact tournament. Is there any concern for the safety of the players for taking a year off from no contact, playing hockey, nothing, and then next year just going right into full contact? And the reason I'm asking that is there's been so many no contact scrimmages where you see guys starting to develop bad habits, right? And things like that. And is that
Yeah. So honestly, that's a pretty good question. I never really thought of that. But like you said, a lot of these non-contact, they're like summer hockey games, right? You develop bad habits and stuff like that. I never really thought of it like that, but that's a good way to look at it, definitely.
And Jack,
guys, I'm having some technical issues here, so I'm going to sign off. I'll let you guys finish. But Jack, really appreciate us. Thank you so much, and hopefully we can do this again down the road. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Jack, question I have for you is Jim's talking. I can't hear.
Do what you got to do, or how are you handling that?
Oh, I didn't hear that all.
When Tony signed out, it cut you off. Go ahead, Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
Can you hear me, Jack?
Yeah.
So I said, right now you're getting ready for whatever comes next. You got to work out and stuff with the lockdown and the gym's closed. Do you have the stuff at home that you can do your workouts and keep active like that?
Yeah, I have a bike and some weights and stuff in the basement here. So I've been taking a couple days off since I got back, but I'll probably get back at it here soon. And yeah, I got enough stuff to maintain and stuff like that downstairs, so I'm good.
And when will you get back on the ice again? I know you're quarantined now for a while, but do you know when you'll get back on the ice? Will it be a while, or how does that look?
I'm not sure. I haven't even thought of that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll turn it over to Jay. Thanks, Jack. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'll let Jay fire some questions at you, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Now, Jack, one thing I was going to ask is at the start, but is when it was 4-3 in that scrum in front of the net, you were on the ice, and you guys all thought more or less the play was dead because of the goalie interference. What happened? I guess after you went back to the bench, were they a little pissed off, or what was going through everybody's mind there?
Yeah, I think the coaches were looking for an explanation from the ref. So they were a little mad at the ref, but no one was really mad at each other. I think the game was so big and it was that moment, you can't really get mad at each other. You got to stick together and play as a team to finish the game. So our coach were a little mad, but
Totally understandable. And again, winning the gold, U18 World Champion, but coming home, it's amazing what you guys done and you won. But not being able to share with people because of COVID a little bit is just a little not unsatisfying, but it'd be nice if you could hang out with your buddies and talk a little bit more about it, right?
Yeah. When I got home, I was greeted by my mom's side of the family. They were just outside, kind of socially distanced, and then I showed them the medal, and that was basically it. I've been in the basement since then. But once I get out of quarantine, I'll be able to see some people, my family, and stuff like that. So
And I was communicating with your mom throughout the tournament, and usually most parents get to go to it, so it's something that is different for your mom, Marcus Stacy. And she said she would send me a message almost every day or every other day. She was a ball of nerves. Did she
yeah,
let, did she let you know that, or she was nice and calm, thinking that mom was all right?
she's nice and calm when she talks to me, but I know behind the scenes that it's nerve wracking for them watching at home, and I know that they really wanted to go, but it's tough with coming back the 14-day quarantine with their work and stuff like that. So um, they wish they were there, but yeah, it's definitely nerve wracking for them watching from home.
But there were some parents that did make the trip, right?
Yeah, I think a few parents did.
So, and again, that's nice to have some Canadian fans in the stands
Yeah,
compared to the NHL where nobody's there, right?
yeah, definitely.
And one thing Jim had touched base on about not being able to play down in Ottawa or playing hockey this year and having over a year off. Did you find it hard to get back into the swing of things and jump right from no hockey to an international stage?
I honestly I didn't find it as bad as I thought I would. I think my preparation leading up to the tournament helped me kind of step in and be all right. So once I got the first game under my belt, I was fine and confident and thought I played well. So yeah.
So, and Jim had mentioned earlier about if we get from a lockdown, will you take a month or so off before getting back on the ice if you guys are allowed back on the ice?
Yeah, I'm not sure when the ice comes out in the Sioux or if it comes out. I know in past years, I think the end of June, start of July is when the ice goes back in, but I'm not really sure. I'll have to find that out and hopefully get back on the ice soon.
And it's something I Cole McKay a couple weeks ago. I know you went to Ottawa, but before that, you were skating with Lucas and Keegan and Nick Porco and
Yeah,
all those. You're all friends. You all grow up, but that you spent a few months with them on the ice. What would it be like if, like, say, when you get back on the ice and you're facing off against them? Do you change the
yeah,
at all?
yeah. Obviously, like you grow up. Most of them are a few years older than me, so I grew up watching them and um, yeah, skating with them. We had a good group. It was always high intensity, competitive. So it'll be good to get back with them. I think we have a lot of fun. So
And last question. Sorry about that. We ask everybody, and we put you on the spot. What's your favorite pizza place in town?
ooh, my favorite pizza place, Center Ice. Um, my buddy Toto. So I'd have to say Center Ice for pizza and wings.
So, and last question, who would you like to thank before we let you go?
I would just say my whole family, my mom, my dad, my brother, for their continued support through this whole tournament and stuff like that. So yeah, my whole family.
So, mean to you if you got that call for the U20s?
What? Sorry, I didn't get that.
What would it mean for you to get a call eventually for the U20s?
Oh, yeah. I think going through this and really seeing how special playing for Team Canada is, it really opened my eyes, and it's something that I really hope that happens for me, and I'll really push for. So that's definitely a goal of mine.
Well, Jack, thank you very much, and hopefully we can do this before the season starts and you go to Ottawa.
Thank you for having me.
And sorry about the technical difficulties.
No problem.